Welcome back to the Titanium Hanger. This is Mike, and I'm coming at you with a weekly news and review for August 22nd, 2021. Boy, this was just a wild, crazy week. Now, we've got some updates from existing projects. We've got some more reveals in the Masterpiece realm. We've also got a little bit of Legends and quite a bit of Mainline, including some reveals for the new movie. We're going to talk about all this stuff coming up. First off, starting out what's new at Show Z, and the Gigapower, the Gravature Sludge is in stock. This is the Chrome version. It is priced at $199.99, and it is almost 12 inches long. And I've been reviewing these all week, or the past couple of weeks, working on reviewing all of these, and this is a great figure. I really like it. It's really solid. It looks really good, and it is massive. Well worth the $200. Also up for pre-order at Show Z right now are all three of the Omnibots. They are priced at $97.99 each, and they all look great. So getting into it, this week X-Transbots did put out more pictures of these, so let's go look at those pictures. So first off, we have the Fioravanti, and that is the Overdrive figure, and it looks really good. And these are still just renders, but they do look great, and I love the way this one looks. And it doesn't look too extremely overcomplicated. I might be eating my words when I go to transform it, but it really does look like it copies a bit of the engineering from the vintage line and just kind of improves it and takes it a little bit to the next level. I really hope they're going simple, and with the lower price point, I'm kind of thinking they're keeping it a little bit more simple than they were going in the past. Here we go with the alt mode, and the alt mode does include quite a few things, such as the guns in the front, and then you can mount the gun to the back, and blast effects, and you've got the wings underneath, and you have opening doors, raising up and down windows. The headlights go up and down, so I don't know if the headlights go all the way recessed in, or if they just go up and down a little bit like we saw with Fuzz, but still really awesome options there. Next up, we got Yaguchi, or Downshift. Now this one here, these are relatively new pictures. We really have not seen pictures of this one yet, and I think it looks pretty interesting, and it looks pretty good based on the original mold in the very first G1 Mail-Away, and I like the way it looks. There's a lot going on, more or less, with the upper body and the back and stuff. Quite a bit of kibble with it, but I'm kind of still thinking, looking at this, looking at the kibble, looking at the design, simpler transformation. Sort of that's kind of my expectation with this bot. Looking at the alt mode, the doors open up. You can see what's going on with it like this. It's kind of definitely an homage with the way that works. And then you got all the little guns in there, and then the gun that is in the pop-up top of there, and then you got the lights that pop up. So lots of interesting features. And I'm trying to guess this car. Is this car a 200SX from Nissan? Here's just the car from the side. So these cars do look very clean. They look very retro-esque, and I do like that about it. It's really exciting. I'm looking forward to these quite a bit. And we have the MX-25 Modus. It's the camshaft, and this one does look good. I do remember this figure, and the way it transformed was very unique, where you kind of had that chest that was exposed, and it was like right underneath the windshield. That kind of a transformation homage is still there. It does look really cool. It does look really good. I think they did a great job with this design-wise and bringing forth the original G1 toy elements to it. Really awesome. Here it is in the alt mode with kind of the guns out, and it's armored up, and definitely a great homage to the original, and looks really cool. And I'm starting to think this really doesn't look like it added a lot of complexity to it. It's like, hey, you just kind of untuck this and slide it out. That's not that complex and not that hard to work into the design. And here's the alt mode, just kind of simple operation. Doors open, lights pop up, and it looks really smooth and really clean. I do have to admit, with the fuzz and the way they did the fuzz, the alt mode looks really clean, and the opening doors do kind of scare me a bit because it adds a little bit to the complexity of it, but I really hope they maintain some level of simplicity so it's not as frustrating. So we kind of got a ton of pictures of X-Transbots Galvatron. Here's a side-by-side in grayscale, comparing it to the Fans Toys version. And looking at this, it's really hard to tell which one's the winner. It's not like in grayscale, Fans Toys blows away X-Transbots. And it really isn't that X-Transbots absolutely blows away Fans Toys. They each do things a little bit better, and until you have them truly in hand, it's going to be hard to tell which one you actually like the best. And it depends on how well it feels, how well it operates, and then again, of course, that aesthetic in hand is a little bit different than you get in renders, especially in grayscale. So if you don't like the face that's on your Galvatron, you've got 7 to choose from. So you can just pick which one do I like the most. Maybe you only have 6 to choose from, and the bottom left is the one that's already on his face. I don't know. But it looks like 6 to 7 to choose from. And X-Transbots has been doing that, including a lot of different accessories and faces and all that stuff. But I do kind of think the one in the middle on the right with kind of a weird, kind of a smirk is probably the one most people are going to use. This week it almost seems like we've got a Digibash competition for the X-Transbots Galvatron, and I've got to tell you, that just shows how much excitement there is in the community to get an X-Transbots Galvatron. There's also a lot of excitement if Takara were to make a Galvatron, but it does look pretty good, and especially with a little bit of coloring in it, it looks great. Here we go, the Cheebs Digibash in between the MP36 and the MP44, and he is taller like he should be. He should be taller, bigger than the Megatron and Optimus. He's a big dude. He's a big beefy dude, and I don't know if this pose really accentuates all of the great qualities of the figure. It looks like maybe even I can pose a little better than this to make it look a little bit better. It just looks kind of like a strange, odd pose. That pose seems kind of stiff like the G1 toy. Wait, but that's what the G1 toy looks like, isn't it? That's pretty interesting. There's a Digibash just to make it look like the toy, Illusory Monk there. So lots of really cool stuff going on with all of these pictures. So another X-Transbots update. We've got pictures of the actual second run of their lock figure, which is a cup, and it looks good. It looks pretty much the same as mine. I mean, I guess I could sit here with my figure in hand and compare it to the 2.0 and see what all differences there are. But the reality is it's really the same figure, just getting manufactured with allegedly better QC. I don't know if they went back and changed anything design-wise. I'm not 100% sure about that. But this is how he looks. And here he is from the back. And he does look pretty solid. That's the thing. The figure still looks great in bot mode. I didn't see any alt mode pictures, but he does look great in bot mode. And I think that's where this figure shines, is standing there in alt mode, almost like an action figure. So really, till people get it in hand and start transforming again, we'll find out if the second run worked out better than the first run. There's also a poll up that they put up for, do you want shark robots or gator cons? And remember, shark robots is the term that they used when they had their other Quintesson guy that they're about to put out, and he talks and he calls them shark robots and not sharkticons. So, and Gatorcon's kind of a play on that also, and people said both. They want both of them. And so they passed the message along up the ranks, but also to make it available in 3-packs. So that's another thing, a little tidbit there. They're saying they'll make it available in 3-packs. Kind of like the Swarm team with their Scourge. One thing I found interesting this week is Bad Cube is starting to put up pictures of their old figures that are getting reissued. It's some different pictures that I haven't seen yet, and I think it's kind of interesting. I know that I have been looking for better pictures of this guy, and there it is. And so this is their Gears, or their Grump, and the Bad Cube Grump, and we haven't really seen modern pictures of it. We look at these old ones from like, what, 5 years ago or something like that. Here's the alt mode, and I don't think anything's changed. I really don't think they've changed anything. They're just putting it back out exactly as it was before, but it seems a lot shinier than the one that I have on my shelf. It's got a better sheen. Maybe did they paint it, or are they using slightly different plastic that has a bit of a better sheen? So here is the other one that's going to be going right along with it, and they're releasing this one at the same time. And this is pretty much just like the one I have on my shelf. It looks pretty good. Maybe a little bit shinier plastic or something like this. And then here is the alt mode, and in the alt mode, there it is, and looks good. Now, I'm not 100% sure if that silver part of the hood was already there all along, or if that silver part's something new. But hey, this thing's coming out. If you didn't pre-order it, you can pre-order it many different places. We've got more leaked pictures of Cliffjumper coming from Takara, and I did a video on Friday, kind of showed a little bit about this and kind of my thoughts on the Cliffjumper, and in comparison to the Fans Toys ones. Check that out if you haven't seen it yet. but there he is. And then here's the back. So we got this clear plastic that's going to get painted, and a lot of people are concerned about that. So I'm not really 100% sure if my Bumblebee, if they did the same thing with Bumblebee. Is that the same way it went with Bumblebee? Did they paint clear plastic also? So that's one of those things that I guess we have to look into. Are they going to make this windshield blue? All that good stuff. All kinds of great questions. Still a crazy amount of stuff going on with the feet and the backpack in a way, but it's okay. It's an okay version, but they have competition. So we got some pictures of what it's going to look like for this Cliffjumper when he's actually in his red. So there's the red to it, and yeah, I mean, that's what's going on right there. And then here's another picture of the red paint. Now, I don't know if they just did it in green and then painted it red or what's going on, and that's just kind of what this looks like right here. And these pictures are really hard to make out anything, but they're there, so I figured I'd show them. And then there's this picture here, and that's going to be kind of the backpack that turns into the actual hood of the car and all that great stuff. And that's what it's going to look like with that big old Autobot symbol on it. But one thing this does well is it does sort of have a decent alt mode. I don't know, it doesn't look like it's fully transformed or transformed properly or anything like that, but this is the Cliffjumper in a true Penny Racer Cliffjumper form. That's what it looks like. And these aren't official pictures. These are still quote-unquote leaked pictures, but I don't know. Takara's got to know they're getting leaked one way or another, but couldn't they fully transform it properly before they leaked the picture? So we got a great week of Deformation Space pictures, in-hand images, lots of people getting it in hand, and that is exciting. It should be released in September, so that's less than a month away. Within a month we should have this if you've ordered it, more or less. This is compared to the new Takara 3.0 version of Starscream, and you can see how much bigger it is. It's about a head taller, a head bigger, and he is much bigger. Maybe he does sort of lack the finish that you get with the Takara version, but for almost half the price, it's a pretty good option. It's looking to be a very good option. Now, we've gotten pictures of them from the back, but I think those are mostly renders. But here we go with Takara on the left and the Deformation Space on the right. And you can see that they both clean up pretty well. They both have a bit of kibble. And, you know, you've got to expect that to a point. And putting all the kibble on the back, for the most part, is the right way to do it. Here's a picture of the alt mode and the box. It's the Crimson Wings, the Deformation Aircraft. DSO1 looks great. It looks pretty clean. Let's see how clean it looks compared to Takara. Here it is compared to Takara, and I gotta say, there are more lines and seams in the Takara version than there are in this one, so this one cleans up better in alt mode. But one thing that it does different is the tail fins that go up, the blue pieces in the back, have 3 different joints on them. That's weird, that's strange, and that's different. That makes for a different transformation. Thinking outside the box, doing things a little bit different. But in alt mode, it may bother you. And we've got Digibashes already. If Deformation Space is the direction you want to go, well, let's hope they do a Thundercracker and a Skywarp. And this is what they can look like by Easterburn. Easterburn? Pretty cool looking. That's going to look good on a shelf. So we got more pictures of the Fans Hobby Ace Hitter. And it just seems like this thing has been talked about forever. For whatever reason, they were held up in production, and instead of sending them out, they fixed whatever problem it was, which is good. So here we go. It's getting closer to getting released, and I do like that gimmick that they have in the chest to show all the strength and all that stuff. Here it is next to one of the other ones. So these Headmaster Juniors are really cool, and I'm guilty. I'm guilty of not buying any of them and checking them out. I've heard mixed results about them, but guess what? They're a low price point figure that gives you a character that you want, so it's not going to be perfect, but it's filling a slot, and we keep asking for stuff like this, and if we don't support it, it may stop eventually. But here it is in alt mode. It looks pretty good. It kind of shows all the stuff that comes with it. So it's more of what we've gotten, and they're stepping up the quality control on this. Fans Hobby also has some digital renders. I don't really know if Fans Hobby did this or not, but the digital renders of their MB-17 Meg Tyrannos. This is Megatron, And I remember seeing this in the store when it was in the leader class for Hasbro, and I passed on it. But I think that it was kind of a fun way to reuse a mold back in the day. But this is a pretty interesting looking figure here. Now let's look at it in the alt mode, and there it is. That alt mode looks pretty clean going from the bot to this. So Fans Hobby doing a pretty good job. I know a lot of people are looking forward to it. So there's a KO oversized version, and it's the TX01 of the movie Optimus Prime, and it's going to be 20 inches tall, 19 inches tall, something like that. It's 58 centimeters or something like that. And I remember when we were talking about the X-Transbots Minosaur, how tall that's going to be at 49 centimeters. So this is going to be almost as tall as X-Transbots Minosaur. So that is a huge figure, just to put it in perspective. So that's what it looks like from the front. I do have a back view of it, and there it is. So from the back, it's pretty much one-to-one of the exact mold, but scaled up. Now, how big of a scale up is this? What does that size scale look based on the original? Well, here we go. There it is with the original side by side. That's how much bigger he is. And he has much bigger lips. So Optimus Prime have lips? When did Optimus Prime get lips? Okay, so we've got another. We saw this in grayscale. It's a jet, and it turns into a robot here, and it's the J-15 King Xiao. Did I say that right? I think I said it right, actually. But here he is in his bot mode, and it looks pretty cool. This has actually got some color to it. Looks like it's going to have some metallic blue paint on it, which looks kind of great, and it's going to have some more accents on the shoulders and stuff like that. So the whole point of these pictures versus the grayscales they've showed before is to show the paint and the color to it, and this looks like an actual prototype versus the digital renders, so I like seeing that. Here he is in his alt mode in a jet, and I do believe this isn't based on any lore whatsoever. This is just making a transforming figure, if I'm right on that, and they're just putting it out there and trying to sell it. By now, it seems like most people have seen this already, but I'm going to show it anyway. The Jazai Toys and their tape dispenser that turns into a robot. And wouldn't it be cool if it actually dispensed tape, though? Wouldn't that be cool to have an actual tape dispenser that actually will work as a working, functioning tape dispenser and transform and still dispense tape? That would be awesome. That would be outstanding. Be like Soundwave, right? Like Soundwave still ejects his tapes when he's in bot mode, and yet he does it when he's in alt mode. But this is cool. These guys just think way out of the box. So McFans Toys, or Mechanic Studio, or whatever they're calling themselves, Mechanic Toys, with the MS-24, and it's a recycler. This is their take on a Junkion, and as we're getting lots of love for Wreck-Gar in the main line, and getting more Junkions from KFC coming, we're getting this from an MFT, from the McFans Toys, and it looks pretty good. It looks good. So they all look great, and the cool thing about this is you're going to probably want to buy 2 or 3 or 4. And here he is in his alt mode. Now, the alt mode does look a bit odd versus some of the other ones that we've seen, especially the KFC in the main line and all that stuff. But it still looks pretty decent. It still looks pretty good. And I have to say, no other third-party Legend scale company is making this. So this is the only option out there. And it may be the only option for a while. I got pictures of 2 more repaints of New Age's Bumblebee Cliffjumper mold. Now we're getting it in a blue and a black and gold, and I think they've shown this off before, but I think they're getting closer to getting released, or maybe they are released and out. I really am not keeping up. It's hard to keep up with all the colors on the rainbow that New Age puts out for these things, but I hear it's a pretty good figure. I don't have it myself. I'm kind of the Magic Square guy on this, but I do think that the alt mode looks way better on this than it does on the Magic Square. So kudos, big kudos to New Age on these, and any color you can think of, they're gonna make it seems. And there's the gold ones in there too, and those look pretty cool. That's a lot of fun. And before we get into actual mainline, this is the APC Toys. It's kind of a KO version of a Soundwave, and it's the Evil Voice 4 Evil Voice. Anyway, this figure, it looks a lot like the original, and ABC Toys has done a great job in all the one they've made so far, and I've really been able to just handle the Optimus Prime. I never picked up the Megatron, and I'm not sure if I'd even pick this one up either, but a lot of people really like this figure, and seeing it's how it's 1-to-1, almost exactly the same. And let's get a alt mode comparison. You can see what the alt mode looks like. You can see the comparison between the two, and they look almost dead spot on the same. Usually some of these make some changes when they KO it. They make some alterations to it. But aside from a slight color variation, I don't think they've made any changes to this whatsoever. We've got some more in-hand images of Studio Series Nah, and it looks good. I think that this is going to be another great army builder, a great addition to the set if you are in on these movie figures. Here he is next to Cup, and he's going to go attack Cup, and so you get an idea in scale in the shark mode. I really think Sharkticons spend 90% of their time in shark mode. I mean, really, shark robots spend 90% of the time in shark robot mode. So they go run around and hang out with their Alicon friends, and that's how it goes right there. You can still see his head in the mouth, but I mean, I guess you got to put it somewhere, right? So there it is, and then here's another angle of them, and I really think the Alicon is great. They did a great job with the Alicon. They're doing a great job with this guy. We got a few sightings showing up around, and so we have this new set, the Kingdom Spoiler Pack, which is that the Megatron that's in that? But anyway, whatever's in there, it's showing up. The reason this is interesting about what's showing up is that a lot of shelves at retail for the last couple of months have been barren, and right now almost extremely barren. So it's exciting to see anything show up at retail, and as fast as it shows up, it's gone. Also, we're seeing this. This is actually in Canada, where we're getting Trax and the Scorponok and then that Bone Dude. And so the thing about this is they're not just showing up in Canada, they're showing up here in Oklahoma. I saw it myself because I have them. So we got some in-hand pictures of Shattered Glass Goldbug, and he looks pretty much like Cliffjumper with a repaint, but still pretty cool. It looks good. Here he is next to the Cliffjumper, side by side. And this mold is a pretty interesting mold, and it getting more use out of it with a repaint. And I believe this is the 4th Shattered Glass version they put out, but I still haven't picked any of them up yet. And I think I'm behind the 8 ball on that if I'm going to get into it, so I might not pick any up. But it is kind of interesting to see these decent molds getting some recolors, and it's a lot of fun. Here is in the alt mode, and still, I always feel, personally, I like the Penny Racer or the Toon Accuracy, and they didn't go that route with this guy, but there it is, and he looks okay if that's your style. So we've got some Go Better upgrade kit for your Earthrise, and I believe it works for your Siege and all that too, for your Ironhide or your Ratchet, and from Bear Tire to a hubcap. So I guess all you get some hubcaps. I guess that works. Here we go, showing it right here with your Ironhide, and if you can get your hands on the Earth mode Ironhide, well, there it goes. I really think they're the same tires. I guess I gotta check, but here we go with an Earth mode Ratchet, and that's how it looks. So if you're in on this, if it really, really, really bothers you that you don't have rims, well, you can get rims now. So this is the part that I find fun, but it's a lot of releases found in a Target computer, and so we're just gonna zip through this real fast. Okay, so Transformers Alpha, whatever that is $16 for the new movie. That's for the new movie, The Rise of the Beast. And then there's a George Transformers $9.99, George Transformers $21.99. I think they're getting back with the new movie. They're getting back to making the same figures in multiple different scales, which I'm not a fan of. I'm not a fan of that, and we'll see when it comes out exactly how it works, but I'm not a fan of that. Anyway, Transformers, Spike Transformers Studio Series, so a true Studio Series Spike, and not some squatty dude, I hope. So that's $8.49. We're getting a Safari Transformers for the new movie for $10.99. Blitzwing Legacy for $50. So Blitzwing is coming out as a leader class figure, so we're going to get a G1 Blitzwing. Get Journey Transformers for the new movie, Orion for the new movie, and then another Orion with a different scale or size, price point for the new movie. Cyclops Transformers for the new movie, Pluto Transformers for the new movie, Then we get a Megatron, probably a carryover for Legacy. So that's going to be just probably a carryover. We already got right now for core class. We got a Barcelona for the new movie. We got a Triclops at a new scale for a new movie. As you're seeing when you go through this, George at a new scale for Voyager. And then you see Oscar for $21.99 for the new movie. Hot Rod Legacy in the core class. Warrior Transformers, Deluxe Outlaw, and then Alpha Transformer, all for the new movie. Then we get a Dead End. We know Dead End is for the Minosaur that's coming. Then Warrior, that's for the new movie. And then you go right down through here. What are all deluxes? A Pluto, a Georgia, Barcelona, Titan, and then those are all going to be Legends. So, again, all these figures that we don't really know what they are yet, and we're seeing them coming in different scales. More releases. The Iguanas at $9.99, Shockwave $8.49, another Shockwave at $9.99, a Skywarp $9.99. Those are all probably core class. Energizer Monster we've already heard about, $22.99. A Jaxus, I don't know. Jaxus, $29.99. And a Wild Rider, which, of course, we know about that. That's going to be for the Minosaur. So, lots more reveals. And they're also releasing deluxe versions of Crankcase, Point Blank, and Alita 1 in a G1-esque type. So, that's kind of fun. That's exciting. Still, they're all rumors, but they're in a listing in Target's computer. So, there it is. So this is really cool. There's a 3D display in China commemorating the 25th anniversary of Beast Wars, and it's just awesome how they set this display up and what they did with it. Just really cool 3D imagery and all that stuff. Really sci-fi futuristic. Makes me think of Back to the Future too, just a little bit. But I really love this. Outstanding, awesome. Would love to see something like this in my neighborhood. So we have a TFCon Baltimore, October 22nd, 24th, so 3 days there, and they're going to have Greg Berger with the voices of Grimlock, Skyfire, Outback, Long Haul. Thing about this is, I'm looking forward to the third-party panel. Are we going to have a third-party panel at this TFCon? If so, who's going to be present? Are we going to see some releases there? So we really haven't had one in a while, so it's something that a lot of people are looking forward to. Really hope it happens. So next Friday, we're supposed to be getting another Fan First Friday, so that's a big event that's going to be going on. And then also on October 22nd and 23rd, we're going to be getting PulseCon 2021. So basically, whether or not TFCon happens, PulseCon's happening anyway. So it's their own event there. And so they're probably going to be releasing a slew of releases and a lot of things that's coming for the future. And probably putting pictures to all of these things that we've been seeing in the Target computers. Alright, so I'm sure y'all are tired of hearing Transformer talk. Let's talk about a few other things before we get into Star Wars. And The Simpsons Ultimates from Super 7. This is something that kind of threw me for a loop. It's the Ultimates! And I know a few people that are into Simpsons, and I got some friends. No, I'm not talking about Robo. But this thing here is interesting at the $55 price point. I'm starting to wonder how many Simpson collectors out there are going to spring for the $50 price point, but I guess you could say the same thing about Silverhawks and all the other lines they're into. I mean, G.I. Joe obviously is going to happen, but with the Simpsons, it's real interesting that they picked these characters to start with, but it is going to be kind of fun. As Super 7 always does with their Ultimates line, includes a ton of accessories, whole bunch of stuff. So, I mean, I really don't know where they came up with all this stuff, but there you go, and a start to Wave 1 of Simpsons Ultimates. They're probably going to do a bunch of waves and a bunch of different ones, and I don't know, are we just going to get the standard classic versions down the road? So, starting with some Star Wars stuff, there is a short trailer that Disney Plus put out about the Star Wars Visions, and if you don't know what the Visions is, this is basically a telling of a story in the Star Wars universe, more or less, from the vantage point of someone in a different artistic style. And they have a bunch of different episodes. The Duel, Tatooine Rhapsody, The Twins, The Village Bride, The Ninth Jedi, TOB1, The Elder, Lop and Echo, and Akirkia. But it's interesting. I'm going to give it a shot. I'm open-minded, but it's something different. Starts streaming on September 22nd. So I'm hearing a lot of people are having trouble getting their hands on this Boba Fett multicolor, and it is frustrating, but it is simplistic at the same time. Instead of the Darth Vader one that they claim has 3,600 different color options because they mix and match all the parts randomly, there are only 6 color options. So if you want to be a completist with these, it's possible, it's doable, but as I'm hearing, nobody's getting them from the website these days, and the store seems to only be getting 1, maybe 2 cases, and then no more. And looking at reorders and restocks on it, they're almost not happening. So, not sure what's going on with this. Will we get a flood of them in January? Will we get them later before Christmas? Who knows? But this seems to be a really hard figure to get. So we've got some of the 50th anniversary, the vintage collection figures showing up at Walmart. And here's the thing. I did a road trip. I got my hands on 1 Leia. I was actually going to buy 2 because I like to have an extra in case I decide to open one. But I never got an Ewok. And so I never could find the Ewok. I did actually find some Ewoks and all of this wave at a secondhand shop for like $30. So, I mean, if I wanted to go that route, I guess if I really wanted an Ewok, because I don't really care about Ewoks that much, but I would like to have it. I'd like to stay up, like to stay current on all this stuff. But I keep thinking, I know I'm going to find them in the wild because I'm a good hunter. But these days, it's not the same. These days, the retail landscape is not the same. I really do need to do another video breaking down why retail's so hard. There's more specifics thrown into it that make retail harder to find figures you're looking for, harder than online. Anyway, getting into this, the Entertainment Earth exclusive of the Purge Trooper 4 Vintage Collection. This isn't Black Series, this isn't the 6-inch, 3.75, where it all started, the roots, the heart and core of Star Wars collecting, and they are shipping now. So if you ordered this from them, which I did not, but if you order this, it should be shipping out, and I may have to place an order for a few things so I can get that free shipping. And we have the 2021 Halloween Droid Factory Asmodee droid from the Disney Store. The Disney Parks or the Shop Disney exclusive for $12.99. If this is something you're in for, to get a witch's hat and all the coloring of this droid, then it's $12.99 if you want to get it on this. It's kind of interesting, it's kind of cool. I want to kind of take back something I said a year ago. And the Black Series recolors to holiday colors I thought was a terrible idea, but the community absolutely loved it. We're going to get more of those coming up, I believe, this year. They are actually hard to get, and they're not re-putting out the same ones. They're doing different ones every year, so that's going to make the first years shoot up in price and be unattainable. So Walmart has put up on their site the pre-orders for the Death Star droid, an indoor Luke, and a sand person, and they're selling out pretty quick. I think you can still get the indoor Luke, but the Death Star droid sold out pretty quick online. I personally am not a fan of ordering from Walmart. These figures are not showing up in good condition. I'd rather pick mine from the shelf like I did with my Leia, my indoor Leia. So hopefully I find them in the wild. If I don't, I don't. I guess I can live without them at this point, but ordering them from online, they show up in a mailer baggie, smashed to heck. That's no fun. So Toys R Us is supposed to be coming back for a Macy's only kind of thing. They're going to be in 400 department stores nationwide starting in 2022, and they announced this Thursday. So this is not a true return of Toys R Us. It's like Macy's getting a toy corner, I guess that's how it's going to work. Kind of like Kohl's has a toy corner that's very unimpressive. I'm curious how this pans out. I'd get excited if we can get back to real Toys R Us. I'm just going to use the name in that corner of it. I don't know if it has anything to do with distribution, selection, the buyers are involved, what they're buying, how they're buying, are they going to secure exclusives. Don't know any of that yet, but it'd be kind of interesting to see what happens. So let me know what you think about this week's weekly news in review. What all good stuff out there did I miss? Because I'd like to know. I like to stay in the know. Like, subscribe to Dinner Hanger out.